So, yeah, here we are. Welcome, race fans, to the third episode of the Era Pitcast. I'm your host, C.Fengler, and once again, I am joined by the voice of strategy himself, Mr. Wall. We're here to break down all the action, drama, and surprises that make sim racing with Era so intense, and this is the place where passion meets precision, and you get a good inside look of all things Era.
Yep, third time. Here we go. We're evolving the pitcast as it goes. We're bringing in special guests each time. We're joined by a couple of different people, which Chris will introduce to you in a moment. But yeah, good to be back for a third one. I'm looking forward to what we're going to talk about in this.
Yeah, well, as Chris rightly announced, we will be not by ourselves this time. Neither. We have T.Malmi and M.East with us. East representing, obviously, for Server 2 in this case, and T.Malmi being our special guest from Server 1. So yeah, hello to you both. T.Malmi.
Hey, hello from Finland as well. Thank you for the invite for this podcast, Mr. Fengler, and happy to be here to share some thoughts of my first season with ERA and season 13 of ERA racing.
Yeah, and obviously, M.East, you are probably one of the longest standing members of ERA. It's really nice to have you on here.
Thank you for having me again. I think I've actually been with ERA since before it was ERA, and I even joined before you, Christian. So, it's not helped my pace any, but I'm still plodding along.
Well, you're one of the only people in the server that can claim to be an actual good driver. So,
well,
in real life,
absolutely fine.
Good to have you,
If
mate.
I could convert that to the racing, that would be nice. But we're working on it.
It's always good to have a voice from server 2 because myself, Tarmo, and Christian were all server 1, so we need that representation from server 2. So now, I appreciate you taking the time to come and chat with us tonight.
Anytime, and it's nice to be called special for a change. So.
All right.
I'll say.
So let's give you a little insight, shall we, of what we have prepared for today. We're obviously going to be talking about the throwbacks to the last two races, namely Mount Panorama and Suzuka. And we're going to give you a little heads up on the current standings, our predictions, perhaps any ongoing battles, perhaps you have a rival that we see that you didn't even know about. Hard to believe, but who knows? And then, as per usual, we're going to go over the next two upcoming tracks. So yeah, shall we dive right deep into Mount Panorama in the dawn conditions, Chris? What a race.
You really want to start with me on this one? Oh God, right. Yeah, well, I love Mount. I even got platinum pole, I think, for this one. So yeah, and my issues with this race really just down to my ability to drive the Mercedes, which doesn't exist. That car just spat me out a few times and I got fed up with it. So I actually ended up retiring from Mount Panorama, which was a shame. My absolute favourite track. We learned a few things though. We had some good results. So just looking at it, it was another win for Peterson. So he racked his tally up again, but it was closely followed by Limburg's. Darius was trying to steal that P2 off him, but ultimately, I think Limburg's took it by like half a second or something. So after an hour of racing at the mountain, for effectively the second two steps on the podium to be separated by that gap just shows how close the racing is in the ERA. And then in the gold division, you've got Lewis, loves the mountain, got a P8 overall. Obviously a winning gold, so that's going to help him in his title challenge for gold as well. Mount Panorama and Suzuka were the two tracks on the calendar he was really looking forward to, so it's good to see that he's converted this one. And I think I'll leave the next point to you that I've written down in my little trip sheet, because I noticed when I did it that you've said the same thing as well, but it's about attrition. I'm also one of the ones that was attrited, but I'll leave the next point to you about the fact that the mountain claimed a lot of victims, did it not?
Yeah, well, there was a lot. I wouldn't say a lot of carnage. That would outright not be precise, because what we expected, a lot of incidents due to drivers crashing into each other. it was rather the mountain itself claiming its victims, simply by overdriving the car and it being a hyper-tense track on which you just really have to focus so much, and every small drop in concentration can be the lost moment that you had on that very track. So yeah, we had probably a good fourth in server one that retired in the end.
I went and had a look, and we had 37 drivers start the race, and 11 of them didn't finish. When I say that, I mean they were lapped more than once, which usually is an indication they didn't finish the race. So 11 of the 37 were lapped more than 9 times in that Panorama, which leads me to believe they retired halfway through. That's where I got from.
It's probably some assumption to make, yeah. On the other hand, this brought a wide mix into the field, like people that would have normally not been anywhere, like me included, got super good results. The classes themselves were super mixed, like you were racing golds, diamonds, platinums, it didn't matter. You were just on track for track position all the time. And yeah, quali was a hassle and a joy. A joy because I expected it to go worse, in the sense that people crashing out will cause a lot of havoc, which did not happen. But despite the length of the track, traffic and positioning was very, very crucial. So it was an interesting race. But I have to say, from my perspective, gaining P2 and Platinum didn't feel much deserved, because it was a survival drive, but no race.
It was still deserved because you survived.
Okay, given.
So,
Right,
you know,
yeah, but
give yourself the credit.
But that is server one for a moment before we come to Malmi East. What was server two like? Or what was quali like? How did you perceive the race?
So quali was pretty fun. Obviously, we got split quali, so it wasn't manic. There was, I didn't do the best quali lap personally, but it wasn't completely terrible. We get a lot more space than you guys do because we're all split into splits. So it was nice to spread out, everyone doing their laps. There was a bit of chaos, but nothing unexpected. The race though, about halfway through, one of the track was completely blocked. There must have been 20 drivers in a car park.
Oh, fucking hell.
Some people managed to see it and jump in the pits, which made a big difference. I'm sure you've all seen the pictures of us just queued up. I was one of the lucky ones, but yeah, it was good fun. I did my classic crash 10 minutes before the end, so I had to have an extra pit stop. But I enjoyed it. I think it went pretty well. Apart from the pile up, it wasn't too chaotic from my side, anyway.
What would you say? What would you say was the telltale story of my Panorama for server 2, apart from that huge parking space?
If you kept it out of the walls, you did well. There's a few people that had many pit stops, and a few of them speeding into the pits and stuff. So the longer you spent in the pits, the more times you got lapped, I think. There was some good groups charging around. It was quite hard to overtake, but if you could just wait for someone to spear it into a wall, you were fine. But yeah, lifting in the yellows, having that conversation before, I think made a big difference as well.
No,
that did sort of prevent that turn 4 incident from being a lot worse than what it could have been as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
You lot turned it into a car park basically, and it was like that for a good few minutes.
There was lots of shouts in the voice chat of stop, M4, stop.
Yeah.
Which
well,
was quite funny to hear.
But that's this bright overall view. But usually after the race, you sit down and talk a little bit with the people. Who would you say had probably been best result for them personally? Who had the best time at that very race from server 2?
I'm just going through the standings now. Adrian did very well. Came third in class. Second in class, sorry. Do apologise. And again, it was just keeping it clean.
It's all right when his game
I-
works.
Say again, sorry?
It's all right when his PC and his game works.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think he had many freezes that race.
And then vice versa.
Richard Oakes is always... Sorry, carry on.
No. Richard, tell me about Richard. Richard has good and he has bad races, but they're always quite on and off with it. There's hardly
He
anything in
seems to be
between.
very... Yeah, he's either first or second or like sixth. But I don't know if the Porsche was just going well over the mountain, but I think he did really well. So
Well, according to the stats I looked at earlier, he only led one lap.
oh wow,
Yeah.
he led the important one then.
So Spriggs led 18, and then he must have fell off the mountain somewhere.
He's very good.
He
Surprisingly good.
when I looked at the results, in fact for this, I sort of scrolled down. I was like, oh yeah, it's good to see that Richard's got a good result finally, because that guy can have some bad luck. Robert Volt got a good result P6, so that's good for him. I was like, John Spriggs, what's he doing all the way down there? 4 minutes off the lead lap, he must have crashed. And then you've got Cedric.
Cedric had a good race.
Obviously finished P2, so good result for Cedric, but it'll probably be good to have led a third of the race and not take the win at the end.
Well,
Yeah, I'm not really sure what happened to Cedric,
but this is obviously two sides of any race, really. You have those who perhaps outperform, especially on Mount Panorama. You have those who absolutely celebrate because they have achieved something due to clean driving or keeping it out of the wall, name it what you want, that they did not expect. And then you have those who were coming with high expectations, or like calling names, being like, yeah, that guy is probably gonna run away with it, and they don't. So to my mind, Mount Panorama is always very special because you have that very high set of emotions in both ways. All right.
yeah, I was I think fourth in class until very near the end, and then managed to spear it into the wall. I wasn't very happy that evening. But,
We've all got
Yeah,
a lot of
it's
traditions.
exciting. yeah, of course. It's always 10 minutes from the end. I can't do it any other time.
Speaking about not so happy with himself, it's probably Malmi on server 1. Yeah, tell us about your experience with Mount Panorama.
Yeah, my experience. Great qualifying. I can't remember the position, but I was happy with being in the top 1/3, I think.
You were top
And,
10, pretty certain, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was great time in the qualifying, and first few laps were really great for me. I think I managed to get to P7 at some point of the race, overall race, and I think I managed 20 minutes without any damage altogether. And then the car did very, let's say, Malmi things, so to say, and it was upside down at some point. I really haven't really gotten hang of that car yet, right, Mr. Wall?
Well, I think you were just paying homage to you being in Australia.
Yeah. But yeah, I was at the same pace driving with Musa and Schutte, and I think Schutte was eventually 4th overall, while Musa was unlucky. I think he would have been like top 3 or something.
Were they in front of you? That's an important question for the mountain, really. Have they been in front of you, or?
Yeah, they. I gave space for Schutte because that wasn't my fight. Fighting for the diamonds, and then lap before, I kind of lost the rear a bit on the left-hander just before the downhill, and the Musa got in front of me on that one. And on the next lap, the BMW was upside down. And thank God no one else was near me. I had I think the next platinum driver was around 10 10 seconds behind me, and he had 10 seconds success penalty more than I did. So I had a 20 seconds delta next platinum driver.
Would you say that after this experience in a BMW, which I have to say kudos at first because it's a car that is easy to drive but hard to extract the pace from, like coming to that top speed is not easy. Would you say that this experience might lead to you changing cars for the next season?
I'm not decided yet on the next season yet, to be honest, because the summer is slowly creeping in, and as people know, I mainly do golf summer, and we'll see. I'm trying Porsche on the endurance race, and it kind of grew on me already.
I want to say you were scary fast, like from the get-go.
Yeah, I've driven. I think I did 44.2 at the Watkins Glen after 6 laps of the Porsche.
But then again,
and,
like seeing that.
If I may say, I've done 500 hours on the BMW, a personal best in BMW. Personal best in Watkins Glen is.
Well, back then to the topic of Mount Panorama. What was the feel around? You were saying you were doing the pace of Musa, which already is very impressive. But what is about the rest of the drivers? What was the stories that you had to tell from that race, or that just stuck with you?
Big surprises during the qualifying, the race itself. I was really impressed about Mr. Lucas's pace. He was, I think, P6 or P5 overall in the race, and he won the gold. Not tonight, I was second. It was interesting fight in the golds, apart from Lucasen. It was interesting to watch Lucasen though, because he was fighting, I think, Schutze and Musa during the race. It was really interesting, and I think we have to compliment Steven to get that broadcasted on. And, it was great battle to watch.
I love how relaxed you're talking about, like, yeah, I was following them around, watching. It was very enjoyable. I'm like, dude, when I'm driving behind someone, I'm in deep sweat. Like, I can't really focus on their pedals. But yeah, impressive stuff.
And also, I want to say that even though he got quite damaged during early race, I'm really impressed about pace during the season so far, and Panorama as well, even though he got damaged. And we'll come back to that soon, but he's been unlucky this season though, Mr. Hicks.
Well, but he's on his march through to platinum for what it's worth. Like, he has shown that he has a lot of potential and pace, and I think it's just the right split for him. Competitive on a competitive side note. So yeah, anything else you'd like to add for Main Panorama? Else, we just move on.
Let's go. Move
on. Okay, so Main Panorama obviously ended with a bit of tears. So far, somewhere probably joy, somewhere just utter disbelief. Then we came to Suzuka, which is a nice track, but a very treacherous one. I just started off, so once again you learn the hard way that it's not so easy to overtake around that track. Like, not at all. Easier probably than on Mount Panorama, but not by much. And because of that, there were a couple of race deciding incidents where just small bumps into each other would spin you down the order, and then recovering from that wasn't that easy. Like Martin Spitzer is one that comes to mind. Just ever so slight tap sends you down the order because you have to regain the car, and then it's a hard way forward. Then similar with Mount Panorama, yeah, as I said, quality position was everything. Like, it was so key. You could probably make a few positions in the first turns, but only with sheer luck or bravery and stupidity when it comes to diving into a corner. But it was a super, super tense race because you had those people around you for a long time. Like, once again, Lamborghini was not really my happy place on this track. Like, it felt amazing apart from the straight. You would literally run away from any other car, and the moment you hit the straight, you just go backwards. And it was the absolute same. You're coming close to a car you want to overtake, you just can't. But yeah, I would say it was a very interesting race. And my surprise of that very race was probably Nielsen taking overall, what was it, P2, and at the same time also Diamond P2. So that was the newcomer of the year, not of the year, but of the season in Diamond, certainly. So yeah, Chris, what about you? You had a different perspective on that one.
I did. I joined the legend himself in the commentary booth. I was with Stephen in commentary. So hopefully you enjoyed my coverage of the race as well. I'm trying to give a bit of a different insight into it. Yeah, I get my takes on it. So what a race from Ben Hicks, just controlled the pace from the front. Obviously, Christoph had his 15-second penalty to serve, which was success penalty, which, yeah, that played a part in it. But for technically a platinum to win the race overall, like, that's a big deal. Paul Venter's bad run of luck continues. That guy can't catch a break at the minute. I don't think he's had a race where he's not had some sort of chaos happen to him. So yeah, he's again fallen off the order. And I was looking through as well, and I noticed Martin Spitzer, and he finished really well. And considering, because obviously I know about all the incidents because I have to sit there and look at them. You know, I know he had an incident, and he still finished in a really good spot in a Lamborghini, which, although it's not bad at Suzuka, it's like you say, it's really hard to overtake in that car around Suzuka. You just can't get near someone on the straight, so you're stuck basically. If you're in a Ford or a Nissan, you're probably okay, but in a Lamborghini or something, you just can't overtake anyone. So, like you said, qualifying was really important. It was really close at Suzuka. And then you start to think about the fact that it's quite a low grip track. You look into like things like your tyre strategy, and some people were trying to delay the stops quite long, so they had fresh tyres toward the end. That was what Christoph did, and it kind of paid off for him because he got right to the back of Nilsson. I think it was, 2 tenths or something in the end that those two crossed the line. So another really close finish up at the top end. A really, really great race to watch. I imagine being involved in it would have been sweaty, but to watch it as like a, inverted commas, neutral, it was really entertaining. There was battles all across the field. It was great fun to do it. Yeah, they're sort of my hot takes from Suzuka. Really love the track, and it was good to see again some really good results popping in.
Yeah, well, shall we then? Let's just close off server 1 with Malmi right here, and then we're gonna give some more spotlight to Mr. East.
Yeah, I think my dog is here. That's attention. My personal experience was bittersweet. I had some technical problems.
Yeah, I can tell. For those not seeing this,
so,
he's
yeah,
just getting love attacked by his dog.
Did you have a rough race, Tama?
Yeah, I had a rough race, to be honest. Yeah, literally pun intended. I had some technical problems before the race when I joined the server. My wheelbase stopped working altogether, so the whole free practice went to fix it, and slightly even on the qualifying, and I even didn't get it to the point where I was comfortable driving with that wheelbase at that race. So I think I managed to qualify at like 15 or 16, and was disappointed with my pace, to be honest. I was like second of my pace, which made the race really hard because the gold drivers are pretty fast nowadays, and they're really hard to take track. So while being uncomfortable with my wheel and stuck behind the gold drivers, I'm really surprised I managed to get the third position in platinum, which takes me to the other subject because I'm slightly disappointed about the platinum drive.
Yeah, that is a true issue. Like, we've dropped from 10 to 12 plats showing up to now 6. So yeah, those gold drivers being fast enough, we're gonna come for your asses just to drag you up. We need some competition.
So yeah, while I'm having like an off race, it's not my place to be third. Really show up at the races and have fun with it. It's cool to try with you guys and I think I had one other thing to say that sorry for Mr. Lawrence, by the way, for ruining his race. That was totally my fault on that one. I think I have to thank Steven and Chris for commentating. It was interesting to watch today. Have to look at how other people roll them. I wanna
by the way,
Higgs as well.
By the way, just to grab right in there, right, really quick. I talked to Nico today, and he is not making any claims to you. He's not angry with you, anything. He was like, he in the end retired for an absolutely different reason because he had a bit of damage from this. He's like, probably gonna pit early. Tires are cooked, the car's not handling too well, so perhaps an early pit stop and then carry through. The problem was it was too early, and trying to survive with that tire wear for a near 50 minutes is impossible, because after 25 minutes the tires are just absolutely gone and the car will just understeer like stupid. So
I
yeah,
actually tried to survive for 40 minutes in practice and it wasn't possible.
yep. So this is how he in the end was like, this is not making any sense anymore. He's competitive out of it. And yeah, it was like, nah, okay, let's retire before I do something stupid. This is how life goes. But he was very, very well tempered. There's no grudge.
And yeah, I had one more thing to say about the race. That congratulations for Higgs for winning the overall race in Suzuka and getting promoted to Diamond Split. So with him promoted at 5.
Are we getting one more? So we'll be 6 again.
Yes.
And I might turn. I might drive for Red Bull Ring. I don't know yet.
Okay, but
that's good news.
But we still have a server that we haven't talked about yet for Suzuka, and that was server 2. Matt.
So it seemed like from qualifying that the Nissans were going to be absolutely rapid. I think Milestone and Matt and Gale were way ahead of everyone else. I haven't actually watched this race back yet, but I know there was a lot of like hardware issues going on. Adrian obviously had his freezers that we've all seen. I don't know how he still managed to beat me while he couldn't see where he was going. And then Matt had an issue where one of the back markers he was lapping just disappeared completely, and then appeared basically inside his car, which was interesting. But it was one of those races where every time you went around a corner there was a car in the gravel beached at the side of the road. I don't think it helped that there were 47 of us at the race start. Personally, I got caught in some chaos at lap 1, so I ended up pitting on lap 2 and then did 55 minutes on the tyres, which, as you've just been saying, was an absolute nightmare. I was so slow by the end, but I was just determined to get to the end. It's just one of those where for me, it was just survival. But I think for the people at the front, it was a really good race.
I bet it felt like when you used to put baking trays under your tyres when you were a kid and you started doing donuts in your car around McDonald's car park. I bet it felt like that by the end of it, 50 minutes around Suzuka on one side wide.
Yeah, I think I put the traction control up to like 6 at one point just to stop spinning out.
On the
I probably should have just pitted.
Yeah, well, you don't.
I was so upset that I was in 47th at one point that I was just like, I'm not pitting again. I refuse.
I'm committed. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
But yeah, 55 minutes on one set of tyres was horrible.
But you said you had 47 drivers starting. That is, it sounds like the numbers are even ramping up rather than going down in terms of participation, which is not the same case for Server 1, for example.
Yeah, I'll definitely say Server 2 is ramping up. I think the first race was like 35.
Yeah.
And then 45 at Panorama, and then 47 this week.
You had 41 that saw the end as well, so quite good attrition, to be honest, for that number. So no, it's credit to everyone in Server 2 for sticking
Absolutely.
with it.
And I think most of the people are here to learn in Server 2. You know, there's the odd thing that happens and it's a bit frustrating and you want to give up, but most people sit for 3 minutes in the pits and then just go back out.
Yeah, and I think
that's absolutely the right attitude.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right with this one, because it's the mindset that you continue driving that gives you the experience and might give you some experience just for the track, for the car handling. And you never know, like, God knows, I even scored points in races where I had been sitting for extra in the pits because of a hard crash or something, just because you kept driving. And with such a big field, I think there's always something in it.
Yeah, well, Texas League, for instance, I was in 47th after the second lap, and annoyingly, I finished 11th in class. So I missed out on those points, but you know, I made it to the end. So I got back up to the mid-20s, and it was a good race in the end. Although being blue flagged on the second lap was quite depressing.
Shit.
We've all been there.
Yeah.
We've all done that. How does that shake things up then? Like, you know, were there any surprise results in Suzuka that when you looked at the results you went, oh, they had a good time?
So Matt Gale, he's Zolder and Nürburgring, he didn't get any points. Mount Panorama, he did all right, but nothing special, and then he just went on and won the race, fastest lap.
You know what? You know why I'm pleased to see up there at Suzuka? Thomas Hagen.
Yeah, absolutely.
It was a running joke last season when he was in gold that, like, my spotter, my crew chief, every 5 laps would be like, "It looks like Hagen has had another crash," and now he's podiuming. Good lad.
Absolutely.
I love it. Absolutely love it.
He's one of those drivers that either does really well or is quite quick, but spends every 3rd lap in the wall.
Yeah, he tends to overdrive a car, does Mr. Hagen. But when you, I mean, I've done a couple of enduros and stuff with him. He's just good fun to be on a track with, because you can just have a laugh with him.
Absolutely.
It's nice to see him get a good result.
Yeah. And then for bronze, Dennis coming in with the win. It's he's had again some hardware issues every once in a while.
That's a nice surprise, really. Like, Dennis is one of those wholesome folks who has been trying to get. He's been on that brink so often. I don't know if he necessarily won before. I think he did, but it's the first win of a season. It just always feels so good, especially with that much competition. It's really earned. Like, this is not just some random.
Funny story, by the way, with Dennis. Just 1 hour before the race, he heard that just gave me a few tips how to do the Suzuka. We had 20 minutes of training just before the briefing started, I think, and I think he improved his lap time from 12 fours to 202s in that 20 minutes of span.
I don't know what it is, but you're fading in and out with volume.
Okay, let's. I think my microphone is going away.
Is dog chewing the microphone?
No. So yeah, we were taking like a small 20 minutes practice session with Dennis, and I think he improved from 204s to 202s. I think.
Well, you know, just looking at the data then, so his best lap in the race was a 2:02.5. If he was in the 2:02.4s, I mean, just looking at this, he would have basically finished in the mid 20th position, so like 25th, 26th. Looking at that,
We took
So,
2 seconds
that
off
time.
his lap time in 20 minutes.
yeah, that time did massively help.
Same with Adrian, I think. I'm not sure where Adrian finished at after all. He had a great qualifying, and Dennis, well, he had a great race as well.
But it just goes to show that really, no matter what level you're at, training together, learning from other drivers is something that can massively bring you forward, especially still as a bronze or even a silver driver. You don't have to be iron to take advice, like by far not. And
Just come ask.
yeah, 100%. God knows I do turn to people like Darius and Chris at times to ask, like, dude, I'm not getting those last 10s I would need to have to be right in the field. And well, there is no shame in it. So if you're listening and you find yourself struggling, just remember this. And yeah,
We're in
Bring-
academy.
Especially at the server 2 level, I think you can gain seconds rather than
Yeah,
tenths.
you can. And for example, I asked for help today in Burst for Watkins Glen to get that 3 tenths off, to get the threshold where I want. There is no shame in it.
You don't ask, you don't get.
100%.
You're still fading in and out, by the way. So
Yeah, I can't help it on this anyway.
fair enough.
I'll try to fix it if I join again.
No worries, mate.
All right. So yeah, there was Suzuka. Lots of fights, honestly. Just no proper overtaking possibilities, and a lot of tire wear. And some surprise winners, be it Ben Hicks, be it Nielsen, be it Dennis. Nice. Shall we proceed?
We shall.
Okay, so obviously those races brought some results with them. And just as we're talking, we have pre-published the current standings. Bear in mind, these are still, even if they say they would have them in it, they're still without penalties, so that can still move a little. But, Chris, talk us through.
So, going from the top, current live standings, pre-penalties. So, predictably, this will come as no surprise, but Diamond, Christoph Peterson, with everyone's favourite points total, 69 points.
Nice.
Then we've got, so close to Valentine's Day as well. We've got Lindbergh. Lindbergh's keeping up a strong performance as well, 45 points. A little note though, Lindbergh's technically with that Nürburgring result has already had his drop round, so he needs to be solid really. Darius third, 44 points, and then fourth place is tied. You know, with Nilsson having that really good result, that's brought him right into the fight now. So him and Shooten are tied for fourth place. And then, you know, you're looking at people like Ben Hicks who are coming up there now. Yeah, it's getting close. Really at the top of Diamond, it's getting really close.
I want to say those.
In a way, but you know,
I'm certain Ernest is still going to have his eyes peeled towards the front, but it's the fight is on between him and Darius for certain. Like, I mean, they've been side by side on the track all the time by now, and it shows. It's just 4 points. Like, that's two positions difference in one race, and they are on par.
Basically, yeah, like they're neck and neck going into it. Darius can probably afford. I mean, his Suzuka was his worst result yet, but he's still got 6 points, so it's not terrible. So he's got a little bit of breathing room, basically, and I know he'll push on. Lindbergh's has got the mentality just to keep fighting. He wants to be challenging for titles. So, yeah, I'm curious to see how that one unfolds in the following few races as well. Down to Platinum, as Tamo said, the thinning out split. So leading that at the moment, and by quite a canter as well, is Martin Spitzer. So he's gone to a total of 66 points now, which is 20 points higher than P2. P2 is held jointly by Flo and Tamo, so our guests in the pod today. They've both technically had their drop round though, so the next couple of races for those guys will probably determine how that one unfolds. And then some bloke called C.Fengler's in fourth, very closely followed by our resident shouty American Skurt Reynolds with 38 points. So yeah, there's lots. Platinum's really close as well. The gap is less than 10 points between P2 and P6. So there's really not a lot to play for.
Also, I wouldn't forget Simon Crosut. He's tied with Skurt.
Yep.
So.
Yeah, he's in 34 points, but I'm factoring he didn't race at Suzuka, so his drop round's sort of already gone. But yeah, he on his day he can deliver, but he's in the AMG I think as well, isn't he? So yeah, less I say about the AMG at the minute at the back. And then you got me, 27 points, having scored nothing in the last 2 rounds. Gold, where we tend to find the action will happen, a little bit closer. So Courier is at the top of gold. He didn't really have a very good mount Panorama. He didn't score any points, but absolutely redeemed himself at Suzuka. 58 points for him. He's been mentioned a couple of times tonight as well. Lucasen, on his day, one of the quickest you'll get. 45 points, but again, he's probably had his drop round now as well. Lewis Knight, who's been really good last 3 races for Lewis. He's scored really highly in the last 3, and he's on 42 points, tied with Flynn on 42. Nico is P5 now on 28, and then you've got David Roth in 6 on 26 points, and then Calgaro 22 points, Young 21 points, so on and so forth. But there's quite a lot of drivers in gold that have attended every race, so that will shuffle about all over the place. But yeah, it's Server 1, there's a lot that can happen yet. It's far from decided. The success panel isn't really playing a part now in how these races unfold. It's really starting to mix up the grid orders.
True. Well, and continuing on, it's just fair that Server 2 introduces you to the standings of Server 2. So, Matt, take it away.
Thank you. So, Silver is really quite close at the top. Top 3 places are within 2 points. So you've got Milestone after the drop round on 46, Richard Oakes on 44, and John Spriggs on 44 as well.
Like, holy shit, that's so close.
Aaron Shergill, it is. Aaron Shergill's not far behind with 38 points as well. Miles is the only one that's taken a proper drop round in there. Richard's pretty consistently relatively high up the grid, so it might shuffle around a bit, but I think with the high attendance as well, like, you've got to be on your game to keep it up there.
Like,
I think they're doing really well.
I would probably give a limp to be in that fight. Like, these guys must be so switched on at the moment. Like, I think everybody, not Malmi hasn't been driving with us that long, but everybody gets into that situation at some point. We have that super close fight, and you're just looking left and right, like, fuck, damn, am I quick enough? Trying to gaze a view of their times throughout the week, checking the servers more regularly just to know, like, am I in the right window? Am I quick enough? Can I do this? Am I still in the competition? Yeah, well, but mate, you're on a different level when it comes to this. You are so often on the training server. It's really impressive. No, but I think they're having a great time. At least I hope so, because this should be very enjoyable.
But it's always relatively pleasant in the voice chat, so I think everyone's enjoying it. Bronze-wise, currently it's 1 point at the top. Professional Hater 50 points. Dennis Hook 49. So I think the problem with that would be, I'm pretty sure, if I can count, that Professional Hater has a race ban. So that might just separate them a little bit, but they're so close at the top there. It's like, the next one's Robert Volt on 40, he's quite a way behind. But we'll just have to see how the race ban sort of affects professional Hater. He's come from like middle of iron last season, so he's obviously put the work in. It's really quick, but you know, those LLPs have been adding up, so it's been affecting him somewhat. But that doesn't stop him being top of bronze at the moment.
Well, it goes hand in hand, you know, like when you work your way forward and you're more actively fighting, it's something that you learn along the way. It's just unlucky that happens with a lot of frequency. But nevertheless, it's an impressive story to tell if you look at it pace-wise, and if you look at the... Like, it sounds really bad right here, and I think it's not really giving diligence to the fact that he has improved massively, and I don't only mean pace-wise, but racecraft-wise. Like, from everything that he has been told.
In the Server 2 chat, we've been talking about how he's gone from being someone you fear to someone that, you know, just makes the odd mistake here and there. So.
Yeah, but it's something that really normally just only goes away with either two things. A, you take ACC drive or some other, you know, like overlay that perhaps helps with yellow flag situation and not worsening them. But with any other collisions that might happen, it's you have to drive. You have to drive close to people. Perhaps we need to bring back the Chase Tuesday, you know, like just organizing a bit bigger practice sessions where we pair up drivers that are on similar pace and let them battle it out to get used to close driving and then mix it up a little bit, so you perhaps have a quicker or slower driver in front of you. Quicker in front of you is a joke, but the slower driver, so you're forced to, you know, like adapt yourself, and then for the actual race day not get too close or too comfortable too easy, because you're like, oh, there's my braking point, let's take it, and then you have a difference of 1 meter into the rear of the other guy. So yeah, but we still have
Iron's a bit of a different story. Matthias Wiedemann, just running away with it, really.
It's Wienerman, actually.
Wienerman, okay. I did see that come through. He's in my team, I have to be nice to him. But he's 50 points, and the next car behind is Sean Young on 36. So, but after Matthias, like, Sean and Brandon are 1 point apart for second. Brandon's on 35. And then, again, there's like so many people that turn up week after week that they just need a good result and they're straight back up there. I'm going to pull up Max Cruz from the Iron Drivers, who's, I think it's his second race with us, with Suzuka. And he came first in Iron, so he's jumped straight up there. Doing really well. So, you know, it's all to play for, really. Again, with these massive grids, anything can happen. It's just about being consistent and a bit lucky, I think.
Well, I can imagine the problem if seeing Young and Brendan Harvey, it's a bit like looking at me like, what the fuck was that dude doing in our split? But, well, Matthias was a mid-field Iron driver for a good amount of time and has worked his way up. This is the way that
all three of them are often beating me, so, you know.
Well, yeah, but at the end of the season, he will righteously take his place among the higher splits then. So
yeah. They're all doing really well. Like, it's one of those where, as I said, like that little bit of luck just helps you out massively as well. So.
All right, something else we need to talk about are the team standings.
Oh, I haven't even looked at these yet.
Yeah, I know. Fairly not a lot of people have, but I say we should give it a look. So, starting us off, I don't even know from where to start. Probably, let's make it a bit more interesting. Let's not start from the bottom, from the top, but from the bottom. So we've got currently 15 teams running. We could still have more, but they are all name-wise pretty known. We've got Project Vapor. I don't know what happened there. Oh yeah, it's Musa at the moment, probably by himself.
It's Musa and I think Serodio. They've been suffering with disconnects and just general South African related shenanigans with technology and reliability and stuff.
Yeah, they are currently on P15 due to it. Then we have 2ID Racing, which is also a hard comparison because they're just 3 instead of 6 drivers. and one has just recently retired. Followed on position 13 is Team Turtles. A bunch of points and NURBS compared to the other teams. Then UK LAN winners. I don't even know who's in that team. Followed by Eleanor Cheese and Wine. Well, we know that one. Stunt Possum Racing has done phenomenal on Zolder for the midfield, P10. And then we already start with the very known names. Diplomatic Immunity. It's the Stewart Group, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
It's currently very
Same
close.
though, it suits.
They're currently very close in a battle with Wise Racing Motorsports for the position 8. And they are 93 points, then Wise Motorsports P8 is 696, and then Pedal Files on 109. And that might sound like a big gap because we are usually used to talking about, driver standings. But keep in mind that if you would have both drivers per split that you can have, or all drivers, let's say all drivers in different splits, and everybody would win at the same time, you can gain, that's a hard one, more than 100 points in one race. So a lot can happen there, and it's something that I think we don't pay enough attention to, because people can make a huge impact here just by continuing driving and bringing home the points. Then a bit further up with 170 points is Eleanor Salt and Spice, followed by Nubs Racing Division. They have certainly done well, scoring very consistently through all races, like that's 29, 25, 42, 30. Good job, I guess. Like the choice or the pick of their drivers was quite on the top end of the top 10 drivers, I would say. Then comes BitShift Racing with 144 points. They had a bit of slack on Mount Panorama. The other races they did very, very well. Then my beloved Track Tool team at 179 points, so there's a 30-point gap. Had a very strong Zolder with 51 points, followed by Nürburgring with just 13, and Mount Panorama 77 points. And Suzuka was not as successful with 38. I think that was a case of
77 is actually the biggest. No, 79 is actually the biggest one.
Yeah, I wanted to say Los Patos then on P2 has the biggest single score in points from a team, and that's 79 in one race. NURBS was not too successful for them either, 27. Then once again, good Mount Panorama, 64 points, and a huge drop again in Suzuka with just 15. So that makes 158 against the 179. So that's just 6 points between those two teams. And then at the front we've got the infamous Cyber Racing from Matthias Wienerman. They had a strong Zolder, 70 points. Nürburgring, strong, 62. Mount Panorama, 30. The worst result, by the way, 30 points. That was the top score for some of the lower teams. And Suzuka, 59. So it adds up to 221 points. And remember, in team championships, there's no drop round. Every driver in every race counts. So if you have the possibility to go on, do so. Because every driver counts, every single point, every single lap. But yeah, I would say, I don't know if Cyber Racing can really run away with it. The next race is going to show. But
they'll be a bit. I'm going to say they'll be a bit hard to catch, I'd imagine, because they've got quite a good lineup.
I would say Los Patos Hermanos has that lineup as well.
Yep.
And
Yeah,
I
we do.
would even go as far to say that Track Tool team has not the very same but similar potential with Milano James. He just needs to see the end of a race without an incident. Martin
I think
Spitzer being.
Patos, they've had Roche, I think's in Patos, and I don't know, has he even raced yet this season? So, it's things like that. That's probably what's offsetting that little gap. Is that they, these teams have got quite high scoring drivers in there, potential high scoring drivers in there that, aren't
Also-
attending as much as they should.
Also, you have one of the most consistent ones in Platinum, Martin Spitzer in the Track 2 team, which I pretty much fear in the Platinum right now.
Yeah, it's one of the better ones as well. Yeah, so I mean, a long way to go. We've got quite a few rounds yet to go there. I know we're going to do the look ahead to the next races soon, I think, or I think that was on the schedule, where we can probably predict who's going to do well in there. But yeah, as far as the team titles go, I've not really kept an eye on it, to be honest. But the people that are up there, I'd expect to be up there, a bit that way, the teams.
Alright, that should lead us to our hot takes. So, looking at the standings, 2 hot takes per person, I would say. Either single result or who could potentially make it within the next 2 races to stand at the top. Pick any
Are
split.
we limiting ourselves to our own? Oh, right, okay. I was going to say, we're limiting ourselves to our own splits and stuff.
Yeah, around splits. So you can't do all 6 of them. That would be.
Cool. Okay.
So,
I'll go then, and I'll just make these up off the top of my head. Diamonds. I'm not going to say Christoph will win it. That's not what I'm going to say. But I will go as far as to say that Nilsson will overtake David Schutten in the remainder of the season, so he'll finish higher than David Schutten. And then in Platinum, what would my hot take for Platinum be? I think that Tamo will get a race win before the end of the season. Platinum.
To take that one, technically I have one in Solder already.
Have you? All right, scrub that.
Technically, because Hicks.
Oh yeah, he got moved, didn't he? Damn it! Right, yeah, he got moved. Okay. Yeah, fair enough. But that's what I think will happen anyway. Then.
alright.
But yeah, it haven't happened on the track yet. But in technicalities, it has.
I think it will, and I think it'll be Imola.
I'm gonna do my
That's
next.
the weakest track.
I'm gonna do my
Nah,
next 2.
250 laps incoming.
I'm gonna do the next 2 hot takes. 1, Sebastian Lucassen will win a race in Platinum when moved there. And even with a race ban, Professional Hater will take the victory in bronze.
The overall with a race ban.
That's what I was going to say as well. I think.
Yeah, with
He's-
the race
he's-
ban,
he's got
he's
to
gonna
be.
still take the overall in bronze.
That's bad.
That's what's like.
If he doesn't get banned for the season.
Well, I can't make it that explicit.
Yeah.
Haters listening to this now going challenge accepted.
Yeah. It wouldn't surprise me, honestly. He's been rapid, absolutely rapid. I think it's older. He was like qualifying ban, and he won the race. So,
Yeah, he's been
Crazy.
pretty. Other than Mount Panorama, he's had pretty consistently good results as well. So, and we can kind of forgive Mount Panorama because he got stuck in a parking lot.
yeah.
Right,
As a lot of people did.
Matt, what are your hot takes upon the standings?
I reckon in silver we're gonna have like almost. We've had one winner twice, but I think that might be the only time that happens. Every race will be won by a different person,
Ooh,
apart from the double that's already happened. And then bronze, I was going to do Hater, but you've taken that now. So I think Brandon Harvey is going to catch up to Matthias because he's also good. He just needs a bit of luck.
Has Spriggs won a race yet outright?
Yes, I believe so.
Okay, I'm going to say because he'd be one.
Yeah, he won Zelda. He shocked everyone because he was in bronze at the time.
Oh right, he's wrapped away to the front.
Yeah,
cool.
Absolutely dominated there. We were all like, "Why are you not in like gold already?" But
Right.
apparently he's silver. So
Right, Tomo.
So yeah, I'm going to ignore platinum for now. I think Hicks is going to give a very tough run for his life the rest of the season.
Ooh, yeah, I like that one. What else?
And I think Lucasen is going to catch Ria.
Well, keep in mind that Lucasen might be moved.
That I didn't actually know. Yeah.
He might give you a run for your money, yeah.
No. Let's not go for that one yet. But yeah. Okay, I'm changing. Merle is going to win a race in gold
Oh,
with the Merc.
nice call. Yeah, he's got pace. He just needs a bit of luck.
Yeah.
If it had still been in the BMW, I'd have agreed. The Merc's not a compliant car.
He's going to win with the Merc. He's got the talent for it.
Okay.
That's neat.
Nice.
Cool.
I just checked.
We'll see in the next episode.
I just checked the the YouTube chat. Oh, I didn't have that one open for a moment. it is Elijah jumping in and being like, "Tractor team." Two French guys on there. That's a hot take in itself. Yeah, so that concludes our predictions for the upcoming races. Let's actually focus on what comes up next, and is not to be a hot take, and that is Red Bull Ring. So obviously I have a bit of track trivia just to get you all started, and then we kind of discuss the track a little bit. So the Red Bull Ring was formerly known as the Österreich-Ring, so Austria Ring, and was renamed to Red Bull Ring. It hosted the Austrian Grand Prix from 1970 to 1987. After being shortened and modernized, it was renamed to the A1 Ring before Red Bull bought the whole thing and renamed the venue. It is one of the fastest tracks on our calendar. That is point one, but especially in Formula 1 terms, it always was. Because the original one, which, if you think of the track layout, turn 2 is the king, yeah? And then turn 3 is the right-hander on top of the mountain. There, usually, the track would extend further down, even more straight, into a flowing right-hander. And because of that, it was one of the fastest tracks in the F1 history, because with the turbo-powered cars were hitting 340 kph, so that's 211 miles per hour on a lap. And Nelson Piquet's pole lap from 1987 had an average speed of 256 kph, or 160 miles per hour, making it really one of the fastest circuits of all time. But safety concerns got a hold of it. This is why they changed the layout a couple of times. And for the GP version, like the MotoGP, when the bikes are going around, they even have a chicane now around the second turn, which is just that kink in the straight. Like there's a chicane that you could take. Well, everybody knows that by now it's the Austrian GP track. Yeah. And, oh yeah, one nice thing to know, because it's in the Styrian Mountains, or the Alps, it has an elevation change of 65 meters, which is 213 feet. And just gives, especially with sunset and sun up, really nice pictures because it gives you very good angles. Right, so that's my bit of track trivia here. Oh, wait, one. Almost forgot one. Can you name a corner of that very track? Like by name, not by number.
Yes, but the only reason I know it is because of a very famous Austrian. The
The
name.
reason I know it is I've read your notes.
There's a corner called Lauder, isn't there?
Yeah, we've got a Lauda corner, or Niki Lauda turn it actually, because he was the only Austrian driver, Formula One driver, that won the Austrian GP on that very track. This is when they decided to, okay, have your name on this very corner. I think it's it might be even the first corner. I'm not quite 100% sure now. All right, yeah, but if you think Red Bull Ring, what comes to mind, Matt?
For me, it's turn 3 at the top of the hill. I can never get the braking right for that. I always miss it, end up on the other side, like over the line. You know, I could take it as easy as I like. Everyone go flying past me, and I still go off the track. It just, I don't know what it is about that corner. I just can't. I don't understand how it works. I know it's a simple like 90-degree right. It just does my brain in. I've actually
But
no
that's
idea.
the point, because you brake up the hill and you need a different release pattern to keep the car planted into the corners. It is not that easy. And then you have a straight off camber afterwards, where you would usually drive out with a very mean sausage curb on the outside. That corner is fine. It looks easy on paper, but it's not.
Yeah, it's on, either I'm off the track on the outside or I've spun into the wall on the inside there, and I need to do a few laps to get my head around it. I think, and then you know we've done several races there, and it's been fine, but just every lap I'm off that corner. So,
Two of the tracks that I would say produce very good racing coming to them is Barcelona and Red Bull Ring. Which of the two would you pick if you need to battle it out closely?
I think if it was me on my own, it would be Barcelona all day. But if I was in a race, I think Red Bull Ring, just because of those like 90-degree corners, they make for good side-by-side action.
Yeah. Chris, you're gonna have the bird's eye view on this, but what is your expectation moving towards the Red Bull Ring, especially in cold conditions, as the next venue?
Yes. Yeah, tyre warm-up is going to be a key thing for the drivers to get right, because you'll need to make sure that you're having your brake ducts at such a point where you're not cooking the brakes too much on those really big braking zones, especially into turn 3 and turn 4, to the point then where you're balancing that with tyre temps and tow angles and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, that will factor into it. It'll make the track a little bit more slidey. So when you're looking at those traction zones coming out of turn 3, going through sort of turn 5, it's how the drivers adapt to that lower level of grip as the race goes. As your tyre wear starts to kick in, it'll probably reduce the ability to be a bit strategic going into Red Bull Ring, because everyone's going to have the same sort of problems. But the drivers that can get a handle on how to get the best out of the tyres, they'll be the ones that do really well at Red Bull Ring. For a track with 9 corners, it's impressively going to be down to the how they handle tyres as to how you get a result out of it.
Tamo, it's going to be the first time for you, I think, going to a race on Red Bull Ring with Era.
Yeah.
What is your expectation?
That's a good question. First, I'm going to ask you, because it's a cold race, as we said, but what's about the temperature? Because people don't actually at the moment quite know. Is it like 10 degrees because it's cold, or something similar?
Yeah, you
Because
can probably expect between 15 and 10 degrees, yeah.
Yeah, that's going to be a real challenge. For example, turn 10, the last corner. Because that's going to be real tough on the track limits. The track is really narrow at that point, turns nice and 10. So drive-throughs are going to be a real pitch.
Yeah.
I struggle with that as it is.
Yeah.
Especially if it's that cold and slidey.
Fine.
But the track itself, I don't know if you want to hear this, but I think I've driven this most I've driven.
Well, it's very popular on other sims, obviously, as well.
I love the track. I'm not sure how many laps I have in this, but let's say if I practiced Suzuka for like 200 laps, I don't know. I think I have driven this like 3 times, 4 times.
It doesn't surprise anyone that you've done multiple hundreds of hours.
Just in this week alone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's only Wednesday.
That was today before we came on here.
I love the track, and I think I hope I'm doing good. I think I'm up for challenge.
Well,
I mean, it's a track you can overtake at Red Bull Ring as well.
Yeah,
So
the BMW is really strong here. Though it has 26 kilos BOB, but I think BMW is still really, really tough.
unless you're in a Lamborghini, Christian,
yeah, no.
you might have a bit of a miserable one, mate. But
You lack the top
you'll get a lot
speed,
of it.
and the track is very sensible for mid-engine cars are very sensible to the track because the traction zones are basically the deciding factors. Yeah, well, my personal approach to the track is don't fuck yourself over. I mean, this has been basically a meme choice by the community at the time, because I was like, you would never be so stupid to pick cold conditions with Red Bull Ring. I don't know what the other choice was. And they were like, oh,
I remember the other choice also being, I think it was Snetterton as the alternative.
oh yeah,
Why did we have that?
yeah. Well,
Well, I was arguing for it, but no one wanted it.
I did. Trust me, I would drive anything rather than Red Bull Ring. It's really not fun in a Lamborghini. It's low grip track by nature. It has very strict, very wicked. I wouldn't say strict, very wicked track limits. And it's not a home fit for the Lamborghini. So yeah, and people were like, "Oh yeah, Fengler wouldn't like this. Let's go with this one." So yeah, here we are. Nice.
You shouldn't have told people you didn't like the track. That was your undoing.
All right, for everyone listening in, I absolutely enjoy this track. I'm so much looking forward to this, almost as much as shitting my pants while sitting in them. Yeah, no.
David
let's.
David gave a funny comment that the Porsche is finally going to have the rear tires in it.
But let's.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
Let's face it. On the other hand, it can produce very, very good racing. It has a lot of overtaking possibilities. It has the space to overtake, which is normally also one of my critique points. But it will probably produce a more interesting race than Imola or Suzuka can do, which both can have good racing, but it's just much harder to overtake. Whereas if you do a mistake on that track and the person gains on you, you can be certain they will be alongside you in 1 or 2 corners. Yeah. So, Red Bull Ring, very much looking forward to it. Okay, but we still have to give our personal advisors what would be your best tip for Red Bull Ring, and what would you say is the most important corner to get right? And we're going to start with Tamo.
Oh, I actually expected that. Well, turn 3 is really important to get it speed carried through that corner, so you can get the maximum speed out of the race, so you can get the passing opportunity or getting away from someone. I think that's the most important corner. So I have the 9 as well, because track limits really. So 2 corners, which I'm saying here, even though everyone goes to.
How about you, Chris?
I think if you can maximise turn 1, have awareness of where your track limits are, and be able to ride the sausage effectively. It's very important, ladies and gentlemen, to be able to ride a sausage effectively. Very similar argument to what T.Malmi was saying is that a good exit will carry you down the straight. And that's turn 1's the most important for that, because then you big braking zone then at turn 3's at the end. So I think turn 1's the most important.
Yeah, I would jump on this as well. Like, turn 1 will be decisive, even if you're on a slower car, because it's your only chance to defend yourself, because after turn 3 it gets a bit easier with picking lines and therefore forcing the other one around the outside. But into turn 3 is the moment you can lose everything. Yeah, my best tip, hard to say. Probably.
Practice your pit entry.
Oh shit, that's a good one. Yeah, don't ever push it. It is similar advice as to Mount Panorama. 95% pace is good enough when racing. This is obviously now not because the walls are so close, but the track limits are. The moment you get cocky, you get a drive-through, and the pit lane is considerably long for the track. Like, it hurts to go through. Right.
Lynn's just messaged saying music level feels high.
Say that again. What?
Flynn's just put in the chat saying the music level feels high.
Interesting.
We have a background music playing that you can only hear on YouTube, so I'll be watching on YouTube.
I think one thing about Red Bull Ring from a Server 2 perspective is there's again going to be 50 odd cars on track. So
yeah,
staying out of the chaos is going to help. Like, if you get punted turn 1, you with that long pit stop, you're going to have a bad day.
It's also going to be blue flags as well. Like, there is a lot of opportunity to let a car go, but there will be a firm message ahead of Red Bull Ring. If you're getting a blue flag, please facilitate a safe overtake, because we don't want people like not defend. You know what I mean? Just facilitate a safe race, basically. But yeah, Server 2. If you get 50 drivers turn up again, mate, qualifying's going to be oh no, you're split, aren't you? Yeah,
Yeah,
well, that will be entertaining.
Well, it's still like 20 odd
Busy,
cars on track at a time, which is more than Formula 1. So
yeah,
Yeah.
that's a good point. Yeah.
Well, yeah.
it's good fun.
So, Red Bull Ring is obviously going to come up not this weekend, but the next one, because this weekend we are having a season break and we are going for Watkins Glen in a 4-hour endurance race. So, if you haven't signed up, do so right now. You can find the link in the endurance section. Other
I need to
than
do a
that,
quality lap for that.
yeah, so you'll qualify up very soon. Especially Limburg's, he's always very lazy on this. Oh yeah, good man has it right there in this stream. You can see it. Also, obviously that means we are going to race Red Bull Ring not the 16th but the 23rd of February, and then on the 2nd of March we are heading to Imola, which is going to be the second last race of this season. And obviously, because that is my very part, I have brought you a little bit of track trivia again. Let's call it somewhat short. We've got the Imola circuit, which is officially obviously pronounced Autodrome Internazionale Enzo e Dino Ferrari. Probably completely butchered this. It's a very long track, nearly 5 kilometers, so a bit over 3 miles, and it is anti-clockwise racing, which is not too typical. It's lays in the nice area of Bologna. It was originally built for motorcycle racing in 1953. It later became obviously the Formula 1 venue, hosting the San Marino Grand Prix. from 1981 to 2006, and then the Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix since 2020. It's known for its high-speed layout, and the track had big safety concerns, especially at Tamburello, where Ayrton Senna tragically crashed in 1994, leading to major circuit modifications, and Formula One actually left the circuit in 2007, but came back in 2020 after track renovations and regaining their license with the FIA. Obviously, besides F1, there's a lot going on that track. Usually, we've got the Superbike World Championship, you've got the European Le Mans Series, you've got World Touring Car Championship, you've got Fanatec GT3, World Challenge GT3, you name it. Like, all the big names usually go there. Yeah, and today Imola is home to it's the home circuit for Ferrari and its president Giancarlo Minardi, the founder of the former Minardi F1 team. So yeah, there you have it. And now to the topic at hand. Imola in ACC. What do you expect coming to that track in 2.5 weeks? Matt?
I will admit it's not a track that I know very well. This might be a week where I actually have to persuade the wife that I need some practice. I've done a couple of races there, but not a lot. I know that it's not an easy track to race on. It's quite tight. Some of the corners are way more difficult than they look on paper. Acqua Minerale springs to mind with that, and like the chicane and stuff. But it being a longer track, again, I'm going to keep coming back to the fact that there's 50 of us. It should spread us out quite a bit, so that might help. But yeah, I literally don't know much about it, to be honest, apart from watching the races there. But driving it's quite new to me.
Chris, you have driven it multiple times. You had good and bad days on it. What is the overall or underlying emotion coming to Imola?
I mean, I love Imola as a racing track. It's sort of got everything. As alluded to, it's not the widest of circuits. You haven't really got runoff, or you've got runoff, but it's grass. So, yeah, that doesn't help. So, yeah, being consistent at Imola is massively important. It's not an easy track to do that. It too has many sausages to navigate, and yeah, the corners themselves are technically quite tough to get correct. So you can be fast at Imola relatively easily, but to be race winning, pole sitting fast is incredibly difficult.
I couldn't agree more. It's very, at least to me, it's very hard. I don't know for a bunch of other drivers as well to have consistent quick lap times there. This is why I would say it's one of the most challenging tracks to qualify upon, because you can gain so much time on one corner and lose it in the next one. Yeah, Tamo.
Yeah, I'm not expecting much from this one. Just loaded up ACC to see my track status, what I've done here. I've got like 200 laps total driven here, and 70 of those are valid. 130 invalid laps.
Yeah, track limits will be an issue. There will be drive-throughs.
That's where my little nickname will come in handy.
Yeah, you're already set. You're ready to go.
Yeah, I'll practice the pit exit entry.
I just really hope it will not relate to the average low fuel motorsport experience that you usually have on that track, because we're gonna have a full grid, hopefully in both servers. But full grid on Imola means huge potential for chaos in the first couple of turns.
Yeah, like David Roth getting turned 90 degrees like he did last season.
Well,
Yeah,
I was
actually,
went
the
flying
first
yesterday.
stream I watched and the one race I watched before racing myself here was the Imola, and I was like, what the hell is happening?
What the fuck? Yeah, well, it was meant to be our first in server one anyway. It was meant to be our first race, and we all sat there waiting for the server to boot up, and there was a technical issue with the server provider, so we actually had to delay it for the break. So not only did we have the delay for it, but then we had pretty much the entirety of server 2 sat watching us, and then they just had to endure a ton of carnage. Yeah. So I hope
It was a good race to watch. I quite enjoyed it.
entertaining. And it's see on your notes, is it the longer one this time, Christian? Is this the
Yeah, it's a 90 minutes.
No, it's a
Oh,
60-minute. No, because
It's,
Is it?
we only have
no. It's
one
not
night.
the last one, is it? Barcelona's
Okay.
the last one.
Yep.
Ah, yeah. I remember.
My bad. I was gonna say that'll make it spicy with pit stop strategies, because the undercut at Imola is usually pretty powerful. But that's not going to be so much of an issue, I don't think.
Right. So, what is the best tip, and what is the most important corner to get right when you think of Imola? Tamo, let's start with you. You have the least experience, but let's give it a shot.
The most hardest corner for me is the infamous chicane. I think it's called Variante Alta.
You mean the second chicane, yeah?
That's that the last chicane before the first straight, and it's tough one if you fuck it up. Sorry for language, but if you fuck it up, you are going to have drive-throughs throughout the race. It's hard one.
Yeah, we see a lot of incidents where cars will take that slightly wrong. Their suspension doesn't quite respect the fact that there's sausage curbs there, and it just ends up bouncing them across the track, and you do see probably the most carnage there. Yeah, that's probably my most important corner as well. Variante Alta.
What would be, Chris, the tip that you would give a driver arriving to the track with less experience, or probably even for the first time?
It's quite important. It's one of the tracks at Imola where you sort of have to have patience when you're battling with another car. The likelihood of them making a mistake is quite high, so just be patient. Strategize your overtakes. Make sure you're just getting a good run out the final corner, and the rest will come. Don't do anything too risky.
That's a very good call. Just thinking of that, usually in such things, you are getting so used to following that this imposter syndrome kicks in the moment you go in the lead. Like, you've been in the field that you can go so much quicker than the guy in front of you for so long. And when you finally get there and the guy's behind you, you're like, the fuck am I doing? I'm not hitting one brake point right. I'm just going everywhere wrong.
Been there, mate. Been there.
That's me every week.
All right, my take on this is the best tip: don't beat yourself up if you feel that you can't reproduce lap times. Especially when training, this can get very, very frustrating with the track. You need to give it a lot of time, and you can't force it. It needs to click naturally. If you ever get lost or you feel that you're not getting any further, don't train by yourself. Take a break, step away, don't hone in wrong driving, and then grab yourself a fellow driver that should watch over your line, watch over your braking, to give you a hint on what you might do different, and then try to practice that in. But best really, I know we say that way too often, but turn off the delta for training. Look at the times afterwards. I'm not saying ignore them. You need to know if you're quick enough. But when you're trying to push for a fast lap, just focus on the lap solely and not on the delta, because that is very dangerous. And just the slightest loss of concentration because you were locking on the top left corner can be the end of it. Most important corner for me, I would say the combination of two, which is the last two corners. So Rivazza, turn 17 and 18, getting a good way through there, and a very good exit onto the insanely long run down. The pit straight can be very decisive to get away from other cars, because the main straight is one of those good overtaking possibilities, especially on cars that have high revs, like that can go past you.
Ford Mustangs and Nissan are gonna have a good time then, basically.
Yeah.
One thing I would like is we didn't even make it to the first corner last time, so that would be quite nice.
Yeah,
if we could do that.
fully agree.
Fulmonte is just asking, how about having Delta on for the first 3 laps before turning them off? Yeah, absolutely, it does make sense. When learning the track, you need that kind of feedback. It was what I did right? Was it better? Was it worse? But what I'm saying is, usually come the first 2 days, you're probably quite relaxed because you're learning the track. You know, try to get a feeling for it. But then when you slowly start to be like, okay, yesterday I did this and this time, and now I want to beat it. And the moment you say that can go horribly wrong if you've got the Delta on, because you're not focusing solely on the driving. So it's a tool to learn, but then not to get the frustration too high. Perhaps turn it off at times. If you don't get the frustration,
I would just use
leave
the
it on.
Delta. I would just use the Delta to give you a base time, and then just focus a corner at a time.
Actually, I drive all the time with Delta. It just distracts me with the red and green.
Yeah, it forces you to divert. Sorry, go ahead,
A couple
Matt.
of times I've looked at it, I've ended up just in the gravel, especially in quali. Like I really need to turn it off.
It's attention demanding with the colors on top. So yeah. All right. So looking at Imola and looking at Red Bull Ring, there's still a lot on the table. We're gonna see what cars might have the upper hand. We're gonna see what drivers might drive themselves who might have a worse race. So as we said, standing wise, everything is still open. Anything you'd like to add for the upcoming races from your side, Matt?
Not for me that we haven't. I guess that we haven't already covered. I think it is just important, especially for Server 2 drivers, just to make sure that if you can participate in the test races, get used to driving in traffic. You know, especially like the irons that are quite new to sim racing. Just make sure you're getting that practice in, because if you get to Imola and you've not got that skill set yet, it has the potential to be a very rough day.
All right, then that leaves me with nothing more to say than best thanks, most thanks to both of you, Tamo and Matt, for coming on here. It was an absolute pleasure.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you, boys.
Thank you. It was a pleasure being here.
And to all those watching this back, listening, or just live now, the next episode is going to be slightly delayed because we're going to have a season break now, because we want to catch up obviously after Imola. So you're probably going to get 2 episodes very close to each other, one before the race, the final race, before Barcelona. That should be the week. It's going to be a Wednesday. So week 1, that is, if I'm correct, this should be the 5th of March. On the 5th of March, we're going to be here again, same time, same place, to let you know what exactly we're running into with battles and stories going into the last race. And then obviously we're going to do a little season recap afterwards. But for now, you're going to have to wait it out for a little bit, just a week longer. You'll make it. We made a longer episode there for this time. And we'll be happy to have you back. Chris, would you like to say anything towards the listeners?
Well, thank you for tuning in. Any ideas, suggestions you got for future episodes? Anything you think we may have missed? With these Pitcasts, it's having community involvement is a big thing for us. So we want to make sure that we're representing everybody and not just our own personal opinions. So, yeah, we'll probably try and set something up on the Discord so you can fire in like points of interest or anything like that, and let's make this something that everyone looks forward to watching or listening to. If you're David and you're in the gym right now.
All right then. Nothing left else than to say cheers for being here, cheers for listening in, cheers for submitting your stories and ideas. And we're looking forward to hosting and seeing or hearing you in 3 weeks on the 5th of March. Until then,